There's not much I know about the coldest regions of the Earth, but what I do know is that it is fucking cold. But before we knew this, brave or maybe crazy adventurers travelled to unknown realms of the Earth to chart the land and observe the flora and fauna they found. Developed by Bellular Studios and published by Fellow Traveller Games in February of 2023, The Pale Beyond is a narrative-heavy resource management game which sees players attempt to survive a voyage across the vast ocean in an attempt to find a lost ship. The game begins with our character Shaw interviewing for the position of first mate aboard a ship named the Temperance. Captain Hunt enters the room and proceeds with the interview. He asks Shaw a bunch of questions about why he wants to be on the voyage, before diving into the reason behind the voyage. The crew are to set sail after the Viscount, a ship that ventured out to find true magnetic south 5 years ago. Now the Viscount never returned, and the Temperance and its crew are to journey to the ice in an attempt to recover the Viscount, as well as whatever was discovered. But partway through the journey, everything goes to shit. Captain Hunt disappears, and Shaw is appointed as temporary captain, to the disdain of many of the remaining crew who are loyal to Captain Hunt. Soon after, the Temperance becomes lodged in ice, and as captain, you are left with the decision of whether you abandon ship or remain on it. A lot of responsibility is thrust upon the player's shoulders. Rationing heat and food, whether or not you allow certain crew members to do activities, managing morale of the group, the overall healthiness of all crewmates. There is a lot to manage. The story of The Pale Beyond is one of the brutality of Mother Nature and highlights the struggles that many adventurers put themselves through in order to chart this previously unknown land. It delves into human nature, especially in trying times, and puts the player in some positions in which you will make choices you don't want to, simply for the good of the group. Now, I died many times playing this game. I tried to get through with an organic experience, but I just couldn't. Every time you begin the story, it opens a new branch of the menu, almost as if that story is its own separate timeline from the rest. It allows you to jump in at key points of the story and make a different decision. I managed to finish a run through of the complete story, but only thanks to a feature in the menu that means that reaching 0% morale no longer equates to a game over. And the ending of The Pale Beyond is one that genuinely had me surprised, and had some turns I didn't even see coming. I personally was bewildered by the ending I received, and it just seemed very out of left field. There was talk of magic fruits that lets the person who eats it see multiple timelines. That part of the end kind of lost me, but the general story of the game is fantastic. The only thing better than the story of The Pale Beyond is its gameplay. The gameplay plays out as weeks. You begin with the morning. I personally use this time to plan my day. Here you take on requests from the crew. These range from venturing out to study animals to playing games of rugby as a crew. These are important as they impact the following week. Each task will use up a certain amount of crew members and potentially other materials such as food or heat. From here, I would assign remaining crew members to do different tasks such as gathering food or fueling the incinerator so that we don't all freeze to death. Normal stuff. As the game progresses, you'll have to use crew to scout ahead for new food sources, or maybe even research points which determine how effective your journey has been. Crew members will get sick, or even become freezing, which seemed to happen to a crew member every time I sent them out to hunt. If not treated properly, they may die, which is good and bad, as horrible as that sounds. See, now you have less crew to feed and heat, but you also have less hands to help you with the gathering of materials. Eventually summer hits, which, despite what you may think, is not a good thing. The temperature drops to the minus values, meaning more fuel is needed to keep the crew warm. You begin having to use food as fuel to fuel the incinerator. Should you survive the absolutely ruthless summer, you are rewarded with the discovery of the Viscount. But that is all I shall say, because the story can go multiple ways from there. The Pale Beyond at its core is a point and click game. You navigate your way around the area you're in by dragging the mouse cursor and clicking to interact with things such as crewmates or certain objects. From here, dialogue will appear as the characters converse with Shaw and other crewmates, and you get multiple choices to pick from. This is also the same when deciding what course of action to take in certain requests or certain situations that arise. Now what you choose will affect the crew's morale overall, as well as certain key characters and their loyalty towards you as the quote-unquote captain of the Temperance. I found that it was impossible to win over the die-hard fans of Captain Hunt. Nothing I did made them recognise me as captain, so instead I relied on the loyalty and reassurance of other key characters. For instance, if the head of the Scouts, Kurt, is loyal to you, then the Scouts will be too because they're loyal to Kurt. This comes into play during certain key events, so loyalty is extremely important. The use of multiple choices, each of which show a different moral approach to something, is not new by any means. But what it is, at least in the case of The Pale Beyond, is the perfect means to convey the story that Bellular Studios envisioned. Artistically, The Pale Beyond is absolutely gorgeous. Heavily influenced by Victorian etchings and paintings of the ice, the art style is hard to explain. The attention to detail is evident from the beginning. Each character and environment is hand-drawn, and that shows. Visually, this game is one of the most interesting and memorable games that I have played in quite a while. In terms of the music, The Pale Beyond does what I often talk about when reviewing a game with good music. The music is ambient and perfectly fits the atmosphere of what is happening at any time. While I can't hum you a tune from the game, I know the entire time I was playing that I felt immersed in the world of sea shanties, cold desperate Icelands, and the overlooming dread of mutiny. It's hard to wrap up my thoughts for an overall opinion of The Pale Beyond, but I will certainly try. The game is as ruthless to the player as it is gorgeous to look at. A unique art style with a brilliant ambient soundtrack and a narrative which is heavily affected by the decisions of the player. If you are someone who loves resource management games but has been longing for something that's challenging and very narrative heavy, then The Pale Beyond is for you. Even those of you who have been tempted to play a resource management game but have been intimidated by how overwhelming many of them can be, this game is perfect for you. While The Pale Beyond is ruthless, the resources are easy to keep track of, and at no point did I feel that I had too many things to keep track of. But that brings me to the end of my review of The Pale Beyond. Have you played this game, or are you now tempted to try it out? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this review, make sure to check out the channel because there are plenty of others just like it.